Trusts versus wills. What's the difference and which one do you need? So we often have people who come in wanting a trust, but they're actually not sure why they want one. So let's talk about the difference between each. Your will is a legal document where you express how you want your estate to be distributed upon your death. It only is effective when you die. So before you die, your will is meaningless. There's no effect of it. It only comes into play after you die. A trust, on the other hand, is a vehicle. You can have trusts that come into play after you die, but often when we're talking about wills versus trusts, we're talking about living trusts that you establish now during your life and manage now during your life. So when do we want one? Why do we want one? They're good in certain situations. If you want privacy, for example, your will is going to be filed with the probate court, which is a public record. So often your will is going to be public record. Sometimes a list of your assets would be public record. With a trust, that never gets filed with the court. It never gets filed with the clerk. It's a private document. It's more difficult to contest a trust. When an issue arises, it's more difficult to undo a trust than it is to undo a will. A trust is also a great vehicle when you're talking about managing assets in the future. So if there are certain things that you want to control, maybe you don't want your grandson to get a lump sum of money. A trust allows you to do that. Maybe you want to avoid spouses from having access to money. The trustee is the one to make decisions with a trust. So if you put somebody that you trust in the trustee position and you tell them a certain list of rules, they have to abide by that. And those decisions are all within the trust. So let's talk about revocable versus irrevocable trusts. When do you use which? Revocable is what we see more often. This is something, as the name states, you can undo revocable trusts. So we'll see this a lot. Sometimes a situation arises where a trust might be a good idea and then the need for it no longer exists. Maybe the assets within the trust are spent. Maybe the person that you established the trust for no longer needs it. Maybe there's no longer a need for it. You can revoke a revocable trust versus an irrevocable trust. Now, the benefit to irrevocable is that it allows for there to be creditor protection. So it's because you can't undo it, it allows for those assets to always stay within the trust. You can't undo the trust with an irrevocable trust, but it does allow for some protection against creditors.